Welcome to Improve Your English Writing, video number 57, which is part 4 in a 6-part series on formatting numbers. And in this video, I'll be discussing technical measurements, rule number 81, decimal fractions, which is rule 82, and percentages, which is rule 83. If you'd like to get notifications for this series, please click subscribe. If you like the video or you think others will find it useful, please click like and check out links to videos and books in the description, like a link to the companion volume here. So let's get on to rule number 81 about technical measurements. So in rule number 81 it says, use figures to express a technical measurement, such as a length, width, area, weight, volume, distance, time, or temperature. Do not separate parts of a measurement with punctuation. So 6 feet 2 inches, it's very common to see people put a comma in between these, but you do not separate it with a punctuation. Repeat the symbol with a number range. So like 10 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius, you would repeat the symbol, but use the measurement word or abbreviation only after the last number. So like if you said 8 by 10 feet, you would not put 8 feet by 10 feet. I guess you could write it that way, but it's not necessary. You could just write 8 by 10 feet. So in the Chicago Manual style says, it expresses any technical measurement using a symbol or an abbreviation with figures. So some examples of this, of using figures with technical measurements, is Ethan timed his drive to Los Angeles 8 hours. So this was a technical measurement that he was doing. Clara is 12 years, 8 months. Once again, these technical measurements, you do not separate them with a comma. I would say it's pretty common to see people put a comma right here. And the hole measured 3 by 5 inches. So once again, we're using figures with the technical measurement, just like in all the other examples, we're using the figures here for the technical measurement. And the freezer operates between 30 degrees Fahrenheit and 36 degrees Fahrenheit. So here we're using figures with a technical measurement and we're repeating the symbol. So what about abbreviations with technical measurements? Well, only use an abbreviation in technical writing or where space is limited, like a table, chart, or graph. Some common abbreviations include, and there are many abbreviations. The book contains about 3/4 of a page, I believe, and here's just a small sampling of some. So like degrees Fahrenheit, degrees Celsius, and then some, feet or foot is, FT or centimeters, cm, gallon, GAL, gram, GM. Inch, IN, kilogram, kg, pound, LB, millimeter, mm, hour, HR, minute, MIN. This is just a small sampling of even what I have in my book, and literally the style guides can go on for pages of these abbreviations. But this is just my only thing is to say that basically you should only be using the abbreviations in technical writing or where you have limited space. So on to the next rule, 82. Use figures to express a decimal fraction like 8.5. Use a 0 before the decimal point for an amount less than 1. So if you had like 0.5, you would put this 0 right here. However, do not use a 0 before the decimal point when the number cannot be greater than 1. So like a gun caliber, a batting average, or some statistical values. So even though we'd normally put a 0 here, these do not put it when it can't be greater than 1. And I got to say, these are probably the 3 typical ones, or the 3 most common things you're going to see where you're not going to put a 0 here, is the gun caliber, batting average, and the statistical values. Some examples. At the last weight loss meeting, I lost 2.3 pounds. So this is a decimal fraction of 2.3, so you use a figure to express it. The instructions are in boldface. Slowly add 0.35 grams of magnesium. So here we do have a decimal fraction. We have a less than 1, so we use figures, but since we have a value that is less than 1, we include a 0 before the decimal point. We found the murder weapon, a Colt .45 handgun. So here we're using figures to express a decimal amount, but here we do not include the 0 before the decimal point because it is a gun caliber cannot be greater than 1. Therefore, you do not put it. Let's move on to the next rule. That says rule number 83. In business or non-technical writing, use figures with the word percent to express a percentage. In journalism, technical writing, or where space is limited, like a table, chart, or graph, use figures with a percent symbols to express a percentage. So effectively, you can see a percentage expressed with the word percent after it or with a percent symbol. So it really depends on once again, the style guide that you're using to determine which one is appropriate. So business and non-technical writing tends to use the word, but technical writing, journalism, remember, journalism is always about saving space, so they're interested in just using the symbol versus the word, which is longer. So in journalism, technical writing, or space is limited, use the percent symbol. And you repeat the symbol with a range. And you use a 0 before the decimal point when the percentage is less than 1. So if you had like 0.5%, you would put a 0.5. So some examples. I do this because, remember here I had business, I sort of had two different ways of writing it, so I'm going to show you the examples of the two different ways of writing it out so you can compare the two. So like for business and non-technical writing, remember this is where we use the word percentage. So you'd say students average 82% on the midterm. And the inflation rate in 2017 was 3.2%. So this is for business or non-technical. You'd use the figures with the word percent. Whoops, I have one more example. Annual growth rates varied between 0.2 and 4.7%. So here we have a percentage less. So once again, we're using figures. And here we have a percentage less than 0, so we're putting the 0 before, and we're using the word percent. So these would be written slightly differently in journalism or technical writing. So here's the examples. As students average 82% on the midterm, you just use the percent symbol instead of the word percent. It's like the second one, you'd use the percent symbol instead of the word percent. And in the third example, you'd actually repeat the symbol. So growth rates vary between 0.2% and 4.7%. So in this third case, you actually repeat this percent symbol, where in this case, in business or non-technical writing, you do not write between 0.2% and 4.7%. You don't need that percent there. You just write it afterwards. So those are the examples of writing percent. So that's it for this video. If you'd like to get notifications for the series, please click subscribe. If you like the video, hit like, and check out links to books and videos in the description.